when you hear the word spirituality, you usually have some kind of perception of how it's supposed to look or how those people are that are spiritual. But we want to give you a little different perspective on this because we don't believe that the stereotypical spirituality is needed anymore in today's world. We are right now in Tenerife on the Canary Islands. We just stopped here with our cruise ship. We have a day to enjoy the beach and enjoy the city. So right now we're at the beach. We're really lucky with the weather. Super warm, sunny, and we were already a little bit swimming.
Not like in Barcelona where it was raining.
There was raining and cold. Yeah. But usually when I heard spirituality, I was thinking of this hardcore, esoteric, people with hippie clothes and sandals and lots of necklaces and bracelets. Tattoos. They're spending most of their year in Bali and they do yoga. They're super positive all the time. I thought that's what it means to be spiritual, and that's why I was only into personal development and not spirituality, because that was just not resonating with me. But once I started to do the work from Dr. Joe Dispenza, which was a very down-to-earth approach, it was based on science, and he knows exactly what's happening in the brain. He knows about the brain waves. He tells you why you do it and how to do it. And it's just so practical and down to earth. There's nothing spiritual about it in a way. And he doesn't talk about the chakras. He talks about energy centers because that's just what they are. Chakra is just a symbol for the different energy centers. And I never had the feeling that I'm following some kind of religion when I do his meditations. Whereas when I was checking out Buddhism for a 10-day silent retreat, I thought if I would follow a religion ever in my life, it would be Buddhism. And I was on that silent retreat. They were teaching us about the Buddhism every day. We were quiet, meditating and living like monks. And after 10 days, I put in my journal that Buddhism is also just a religion. It is a religion where you follow things the way they wrote it or they figured it out. Mm-hmm. But I grew up Christian, but I always felt I don't need to go to a church to speak to God. And it doesn't even have to be named God. It can be just the universe. There is the universal intelligence and energy and the universal laws which we all have to obey. And it was for me doing Dr. Joe's work that I just approach it like normal meditations in personal development. I just want to manifest something and I do the law of attraction. It's just kind of normal stuff. But once I saw certain things in meditations, I realized, okay, that is probably what spirituality is. But for me to see beyond the veil, as he calls it, to see the truth behind all things and realize who you really are as a soul and not just as a body with a 3D experience, I could see it as spirituality, and I didn't need to change my outfit. I didn't need to speak differently after that. I could still swear. I can still wear my super normal average clothes.
You can still use your fingers to express what you feel about people, like for example this one.
Yeah, okay, great.
Or this one, or this middle one, or whatever you want.
Yeah, like it's negative energy, yeah, but it's just a part of life. And I also needed to learn to not be that afraid of being negative. I was still saying to people, don't say this, be positive.
Don't say hate.
Don't hate, don't hate, because I saw it as such a hurtful emotion. But so what? You just hate a certain situation in that moment, or you just really dislike it, and it's okay. Doesn't mean that you're now not spiritual anymore.
Because we are humans and we have capability to feel all the palette of emotions. first of all, it depends how long we feel it. That could be very bad for our
Yes.
body. But if you're already aware that you feel hatred, then you immediately say, "Oh, that's hate. Oh, I got you," And she's like, "Oh, yeah, you got me again," And your hide and seek is gone,
Yes.
But if she's going to keep hiding behind you and everywhere in your programs and so on, and she's going to, we call it her. I don't know what's the proper name.
We call it he. The
Okay,
hate
in German.
English.
We call
yeah,
it
like
he.
in German, yeah.
Okay. So when it's going to hide somewhere in your programs and it's going to basically run your life and you are not even aware of it, and then it's better to say, "Oh, I got you. I see you. I see that I feel hate now, and it's great, because this is when you are just taking all the weapons of the hate's hands out, and you are just basically having a nice, beautiful, let's say, butterfly in you, and not anymore hatred."
But that's the danger with thinking positively or the stereotypical spirituality
Yeah.
where they're always so positive and calm.
You were
know?
so positive. You thought
I was also like this.
we thought that we have to be like this.
Yes, and it hides the dark side within us, which we all have. When somebody cuts you off in front of your car on the road, you get angry for some time. All right, it's
Sometimes.
okay. But we can get calmer, we can learn to deal with it better. But when I was trying to just be positive and never allow anything negative, I was basically saying no to half of me, which is not okay. I need to accept me fully, and those emotions come up whether we are spiritual or not. All the spiritual leaders that I know, maybe not Sadhguru, but they say, yeah, they do get emotional, they do react. But when we are getting more intelligent in life, we learn to not react that long. Because somebody also wrote on our comments that if you're angry more than 30 seconds, you're faking it.
But I would say it's great to have an amazing diet in your life, and like a diet also for these emotions. But sometimes it's great if you walk by some very tempting stand with a good fries and have those fries. They will not hurt you. They will not hurt your body. You will have it once. You will realize, oh, I'm having the fries. It's like I'm having the hatred reaction within me, in my body, but it can't harm me anymore. I'm not eating it as a part of my everyday dish, everyday, food. And I can't even do anything about it. I'm now aware of it. I'm now aware that these fries or this hatred is just going to be served to me, and I'll totally embrace to it. I'll surrender to it. I'll embrace it. I'll surrender to it. But it makes life much easier because we don't have to resist anymore.
Yeah.
And the resistance is much more hard for the body, because if you resist something, if you try to push the dam or the river from flowing, the energy from flowing, then it's really tough for the body, and it creates blockages in the body later, right? So it's better to just let it flow, let it surrender to it, let it flow. Okay, now I want to say something wrong. You don't have to act on the hatred, you don't have to act on your emotions. You can just observe it, and sometimes you want to cuss, so you do it, You don't have to always be super spiritual. Oh, I did something wrong, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the perspective that I had, or that's what I thought, how I should be, and I had to really learn this to embrace all sides of me.
And you didn't want to accept it, right?
No, and look, we are just dressed normally. It's we don't have any necklaces on. It's just we are being ourselves, and we can still have a spiritual journey. We are all on a spiritual journey, whether we are aware of it or not.
And I was in a therapy, and the lady asked me, "Are you spiritual?" And I'm like, what do you mean I'm spiritual? I don't know if I'm spiritual. If it is in the brackets of a spiritual for you. but everybody else could call spiritual something else. It's just a word. I know that, for example, I've had very mystical experience with my dog when she was transitioning. It was incredibly powerful experience, and I would say it went beyond all this 3D whatever we can read and experience, and it was just mine, and I can't put it in any statement or any words, and I don't know if you would call it spiritual.
And that's also being really humble,
yeah.
because a lot of people also take over the identity of I am spiritual.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? If I'm spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
of course I'm spiritual. I go to yoga, I go to Bali every year,
Mm-hmm.
I
I
eat
have a
smoothie,
tattoo.
I drink smoothies, I have a tattoo. Look,
I have
that
a
means I'm
leftover.
spiritual.
I have a leftover sticker
He used
from
to have a little pig tattoo
from a
which we
piggy.
got in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Like, you can also really take over that identity, and you can be proud and really present yourself as being spiritual. That's what a lot of people do. That's why we are maybe so we want to distance ourselves so much from it, because we are like, that's just not authentic. That's not what I want to be.
The ego wants to always stand out, and the ego feeding can happen through spirituality or through anything. The ego always finds its way.
Yes.
But it's very important, because that lady which asked me, which I talked about, she asked me about the spirituality, if I'm spiritual. She has a partner.
Close.
She has a partner and husband, and he meditates a lot, all the time. And she said, I can't meditate. I'm not that good. I can't ever meditate. And I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's enough. If you want to know what's your health problem, Dr. Joe Dispenza says where your health problem comes from. If you want to know that, just close your eyes for 10 minutes. Sit in a calm position and just see what comes up, like what emotions come up. And she said, I can't do it. And my husband can do it. They were for hours looking into the mirror at themselves, into their own eyes, to see who they really are. And I'm like, yes, but now I see that she puts him on a pedestal, and because he meditates and he looks into the eyes. But she gave birth to a girl 20 years ago. She has a 20-year-old child. It's also very spiritual.
Yes.
It's also beautiful experience. Yes. Maybe she's even more spiritual than him. If you want to compete in spirituality, we can make Olympics, right? But I mean, we are always trying to put us down in anything, and spirituality, if we want to call it this way, spirituality, mystical, shouldn't be competition, right? It should be equal. We are all equal. We are all having a wisdom within us, which is amazing. If we talk here on the cruise with a lady from China, or somebody who is 10-year-old and is jumping in a pool, they are all having the same beautiful, I don't know, souls, or how would
yes.
we, and the journey, and it's just, we shouldn't fall for these games anymore. Yeah,
it's a lot easier than we think.
So if you're thinking about spiritual tattoo, you don't have to do it now anymore.
You don't need to.
You don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
To be proving to everybody else that you are or you are not. Because it doesn't matter. It's just word. It's for you. You will show it to somebody, and then it's gone. Nobody cares really. Right.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's just very moving when somebody could heal, or when somebody could be happy. The lady from China, which we saw, she couldn't really walk well, but she was so bright, and she was around almost 80, I guess, or 75. She was so bright, and her skin was amazing, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is she doing for looking so shiny?
Joyful as well. Yeah, shiny,
yeah,
radiating.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's spirituality too,
Hmm.
right? It's not only creams and good food. It's also, approach to life, right?
I can show you a little bit the beach. I'll take you with me. They have everywhere these mountains and structures. Not much vegetation on it. And this is an artificially made beach. The sand was transported here. But usually it's very windy in Tenerife and in the Canary Islands. But here it's very much protected from the mountains. And it's not windy at all. It's beautiful, warm, super soft, smooth sand. And the water is also nice. Quite cold.